So I'm Pam Selly, and I'm a news applications developer at AxisPhilly, which both of those things might mean nothing to you now, and it's my hope that after I talk to you that it'll mean a little bit more and that hopefully you'll be really excited about what we're doing at AxisPhilly. So AxisPhilly is a nonprofit investigative newsroom that we specialize just in news in the public interest in Philadelphia. So what does news in the public interest mean? That means basically anything ranging from property taxes, government services, public services, litter. We have a litter project, and I know a lot of people, maybe mostly me, get really passionate about helping solve the litter problem in Philadelphia. And we have all these projects happening in the public interest for Philadelphia. And so what we're doing is we use data analysis and software, and that's part of my job as a news applications developer, which is how newsrooms talk about software engineers who help drive the news forward. So we write software and use data analysis as tools to help tell better stories. So how can we use, and we also, at AxisPhilly, we have a particular love of open data, and we are the stewards of the open data catalog in Philadelphia, opendataphilly.com. And so we use mostly open data, and any data we use that's not open, we usually open after we've released our stories and our news applications. And we use data analysis to help tell better stories and tell data-driven stories so that instead of being tied to the daily news cycle and getting caught up in the drama of 24/7 news, that we talk about the big issues and we talk about deep infrastructure and the kind of things, and particularly in Philadelphia, the urban issues that we deal with and how we can better understand them so that we can build a better future together. So that's the spiel of what AxisPhilly is. And so if you're interested in reading some of the stories we write, we have a lot of great stories at AxisPhilly.org, and I want to show you a few things that the news apps team in particular is focused on. So if you go to AxisPhilly.org, you can check us out. If you want to see kind of the news apps team home is AxisPhilly.org/tools, and any of our projects end up here. So you'll see that we have a few projects on here. I'm just going to scroll so you can see. So Open Data Philly. And one of our more popular ones, before I get to our more recent one, this is script problems. All right. There we go. Oh, that's a much prettier map. There we go. So if you aren't familiar with the AVI in Philadelphia, it's the Actual Value Initiative, which, if you're a property owner in Philadelphia, you're probably very aware of it, because it's the first time in about 20 years that the city has put forth an effort to bring property tax valuations up to market value. And so in February, my colleague worked on this map, and actually he was working on the software before the data was released, such that when the data was released, in about less than 3 hours, we had this map up. So you can see from an aggregate view of the city, you see hot spots of where property taxes are changing. And then you can also interact, and so you can find your address, but I'm just going to zoom and check out some parcels. So it's by parcel. And so I'm trying to get a really nice hot one. So let's get over here so we can see this 16,000% increase. And so these are really interesting. And it's really, so what we do with news applications is we create, particularly, we have a focus on creating really interesting interactives. And so meaning, we want you to be able to interact with and play with and explore the data that is your data. This is data that's public and about Philadelphia and unique to Philadelphia's problems. And, well, challenges. And so I really encourage you to check this out. It's apps.axisphilly.org/AVI-map, but you can just go to axisphilly.org to find it. If you haven't seen it, it's really great to explore. And also, last week we released a story. Our reporter, Isaiah Thompson, got actually a big old PDF, and so we're still doing some things with it, but we went ahead and released it the day we got it, about some problems with the methodology of how the AVI was done. And so it's really, really interesting, and I really recommend checking out that story if this topic really interests you. because they're joining the long list of vacant properties in Philadelphia. And most of these buildings are not only huge, they're also valued in the millions of dollars, and if and when, possibly, they remain vacant, they are just magnets for blight and crime. And so what we're doing with Schoolhouse Watch is we're saying you can go and explore and see the school buildings that are closing. And we actually had an event last week partnering with NBC10, and you can watch the forum online if you'd like to see it. We have that on our website, where we invited members of the community to come and talk about what they want to see happen with these school buildings. And it's a very hard conversation because there's a lot of emotions and kind of neighborhood politics right around all these buildings, but it's so important to move the conversation from, no, the school can't close, the school's closing. And so Germantown High School is a giant building. It's a really kind of in the heart of Germantown, and if you go to the website, on every page you can kind of walk around the neighborhood and street view and see the valuation. So Germantown High School is valued at $9 million. And there's a conversation that you can join online and talk about, all the scripts are blocked. Were you about to say that? Yeah, I was like, where's the conversation? But you can participate in the conversation online. There's a few of the buildings have some very interesting conversations happening about people online sharing their opinions and what they believe should happen with the school. So that's what I wanted to show you. That was a lot. If you want to get in contact with us and keep in touch, go to AxisPhilly.org, go to Twitter @AxisPhilly, Facebook AxisPhilly, and really get interested, get involved in what's happening in the public interest in Philadelphia. So we'd love to hear from you. And we also do have a mailing list. If you go to the bottom of the page on AxisPhilly.org, you can sign up. We only send an email about once a month, so don't be afraid. And it's just to tell you about kind of the new stuff we released and all the kind of cool stuff we're doing. So, thanks.
Awesome job. Great job. All right. Again,